thank you for being here with me today on this wonderful little area here. And I wanted to ask you where you're from, and also ask you about your life. I think the line that impressed me the most that you told me some days ago, it was victory over being a victim. I think that's the headline for starting our interview.
Thank you. Such an honor to be here with you in this beautiful environment, feeling so blessed. I was born in South Africa and spent half of my life there. Got married, educated, had my first child, had a business, and because of the crime, we decided to give all that up, everything we knew, to come here. Very difficult move, knowing nobody here, not knowing the language. And then from there, having our business, raising my children, and completely forgetting about me and my needs. You know how we do as mothers, just diving deep. And once they completed their schooling, they finished their studies, I had all this time, and it was like, yay, for me. But I was going through these feelings that were coming up that I never had time to experience before because of my busy life. And rage and questions like, why was I always afraid of men growing up? Why did I not have the confidence to speak to them, or always shied away from them? There were these questions coming up. And in my mid-40s, I woke up one morning with a serious physical ailment. My neck was stiff, and I just wanted to know why, what was going on, what was my body telling me. I was doing yoga regularly, the meditations, all the good stuff, the chanting, and as we know, that lifts emotions up. So I was ready to dive into this and deal with it. And I discovered, as a holistic practitioner that I'd been for the past decade or so, that there was an underlying emotion. And I embarked on this incredible roller coaster ride with my psychotherapist. And we discovered over a few years that it was due to incest, due to my domestic violence that I had with my first relationship. I was almost strangled to death, and I stuck in that relationship for 3 years.
Oh my God.
Because I was raised in a dysfunctional family and with narcissistic father. And of course, my first love was a repeat of that. It was the pattern repeating, which often happens in women's lives.
Mostly.
Yeah. And I started having to really dive deep. You know, the top layers don't work. When you're ready for that and you feel it, it was a strong calling within my soul, my being. I just knew it was my journey. And it took at least 2 years before I had the courage to actually speak to my mother about it. I remember going back, and I'll never forget the day, 31st of January 2018. And I spoke to her. We went for lunch and told her. And sitting across the table, when I shared the story, of course there were tears between both of us. But the most moving thing was that I had unlocked her pain and trauma. She was gang raped at the age of 15, and she had never spoken about it. And she was sitting there, 75-year-old woman, cracked her heart open to me. And we were just holding this beautiful, loving space for each other. And this is what we need as women, to be able to crack our hearts open, to be able to break that silence that we keep within us so deep for so many years, often subconsciously, but we get this calling. It's always there. We never forget. We never forget. I know with research, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about the new neurology and how our emotions are deeply embedded within ourselves. We cannot walk away from them. And they often manifest in our physical being, which was what happened to me with my neck and not having support all my life. That was the key. So embarking through that, then of course other emotions came up, of course, that had been stiffed and
Sure,
hidden down.
sure.
And started bubbling out, rage, suicide, deep depression. And you need support for that as women. We need our friends, we need company, but we also need the professionals.
Yes.
Yes, I went through the mindfulness, I went through an NLP, I did various holistic modalities to help me and not turn to medication. Fortunately, I have always been very much into the natural health.
So we both know it's a big journey, isn't it, to come out of all these difficulties and all this self-punishment. Isn't it that we become, we do to ourselves what others did to us? That's what I hear a lot. I work with people, women, and they tell me, yeah, I was not eating right. I was not taking care of myself. I was giving. So a lot of women go into the giving because the taking makes you vulnerable. The needing makes you vulnerable. So basically, the protective layer that you had was, I just give, give, give. I get to be a holistic therapist. I do yoga. What happens a lot nowadays, I'm also a yoga teacher, is that people do more yoga, tougher yoga. They do more meditation. They beat themselves up. But as Joe Dispenza and a lot of other researchers say and doctors say, Bruce Lipton, for example, it's all in our cells. Every little cell has this person that sexually abused you still in there. Yeah, no matter how much meditation you do or how much you do yoga, you gotta get into the therapeutic thing. You gotta get yourself onto a spiritual path. Wouldn't you agree?
My journey was extremely emotional, but when it manifested as the physical ailment in my neck and the stiffness and being unable to move, we need our neck for virtually everything. It was such a wake-up call for me. The meditation, the yoga, yeah, that was there, that was great, the Ashtanga, pushing myself, but I had to stop giving to others, and I was made to look within. Mm-hmm. Hey, Helena, what do you need? You know, you've lived half your life virtually now. You're in your mid-40s. What's going on? Why is this happening? You're pretty fit. You're pretty healthy. You do the good. You help everyone. What did I do to deserve this? And that's where I clicked and realized that, hold on, what has got me to where I am today? What is the root of all of this? And for me, that deep dive was the spiritual part of me, that divine essence within me that had got me through all those 40-something years. I remember times crying out in tears and walking at night and not understanding why I'm feeling this pain, why people treat me this way. What did I do to deserve that? And I knew that there was something inside me that was ready to emerge, ready to blossom. But I had to make time for me to allow that to happen, to deepen that spiritual connection, that listen to my soul's calling. What was this about? What was it trying to say? So I had to go within myself, and of course I couldn't do it on my own anymore. It was time to reach out, because we're not here to do anything alone. We need each other. And that's when I embarked on my psychotherapy journey and took a deep dive and worked weekly with these emotions, writing, crying, speaking, expressing those things that were hidden and suppressed for so many years, allowing them to come up, and dealing, most importantly, with my inner child that was yearning to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved. So that was deep. That was really a deep part of it. And we cannot do that alone. We need a professional for that. Once I could embrace her and give her the safety and this love and speak to her and and tell her that I'm here for her now, and that it's going to be okay, that we're going to move forward together, and we're going to do amazing things together from here on.
And that's why we are sitting here. We both want to do things together with women, to support them, but also to be supported by each other. Not just to be the giver, the one that doesn't need, even though it makes us vulnerable. It puts us in a weak space. You know what I mean? It's not weak, it's strong. But in our society, it's weak if you need something. So when was there a day where this picture came up, where you like really felt that deep, 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 deep hatred towards this man that abused you?
Yeah, the day came where, of course, I experienced extreme hatred towards my caretaker, who had taken these years, these innocent years of my life, that I could never have the joy and the freedom that a child has, that a child is entitled to. Those innocent years were just gone. And that, of course, created rage in me. It's like, who's he to do that to me? I was innocent. He was supposed to love me. There was so much narcissism, so much dysfunction in the relationship between the male and myself. And especially when it's your father, it's someone who's supposed to be there to love you and protect you and build you up, to be able to go out in the world and trust men and honor them and be able to communicate with them. But that was just ripped from me. That was ripped, it was taken away, and I could never get that back. So yeah, that was hell, if you can say it that way. It was deeply painful. It deeply scarred me, and it had to be faced.
Did you face him?
Yes.
You faced him?
Yes.
Uh-huh. How?
It took me another 2 years of working in therapy, because I knew this was important for my calling. That I was not prepared to abandon my mother and never see her again because of him. Because it's just the relationship he has with her, very controlling. And I knew that I had to do this, and I wanted to do this, because I know there are many other women experiencing this and even worse in their lives. And I wanted to heal myself. I didn't want to live the rest of my life with this anger. Because when you hold that burning coal, like Buddha says, you're burning yourself.
Yes.
That anger burns you. And I didn't want that. I wanted peace. So I embarked on this deep forgiveness journey, this deep healing. Did a course where I understood why abusers abuse. And there's so much information in that. Yes. When you dig those layers and understand that 90% of abusers have been abused themselves.
Yes.
And they have not had the opportunity or even tried to deal with those feelings. So naturally they repeat the pattern. And me, well, I was just the chosen one in the family, possibly to break that cycle. And not only for the male connection that was so painful, but also for the female connection in my family, with my mother, my cousins as well. There's a whole line of it that goes down my family.
How was the reaction in the family? Did that like make, wave out?
Absolutely. There were tsunamis.
Tsunamis.
Yeah, when I spoke to him first on a video call, he just completely denied it and said that both me and my mom are shot in the head. Those were his exact words. But I knew that I was ready to speak. It was time to speak. I'm a truth speaker. This is not an easy job. It's not an easy calling. No. Nobody hates anyone more than a truth speaker.
Yes, all over the world.
I rocked my family. I rocked the boat, and I'm still rocking it. But hey, that's their journey. This is mine. This is my calling. And I found forgiveness and such deep inner peace.
You did?
Yes.
So you forgave your father?
I went in last year 23 and faced him face to face, and there was just so much compassion, so much understanding, so much forgiveness.
I want to know how you did that. I think that's very important. How did you do that? Through meditation, through prayer? Just give us a couple sentences.
A combination. The
Yeah.
prayer, absolutely. Meditation, yes. Very gentle yoga, loving, gentle yoga. The feminine side, I had to connect to that on a deeper level and go within my soul, my spirit, and ask myself, what do I want from this experience?
Yes.
How am I going to move forward?
Yes.
What am I going to do with this information?
Yes.
And that was to share, to shine the light, to guide others on the path, to help them break their silence,
Yes.
and move from that victim into the victory, to transform that trauma into triumph, and heal their wounds into wisdom.
Yes.
And this is where I feel I am right now, thankfully in deep humbleness, and able to share and freely talk about this.
Yes, and not feel shame, because a lot of people who went through the experience you went through, they have a lot of shame, and that's why they keep silent. And you wrote a book, I think, with 21 other women, Break the Silence, and we're gonna make sure that our viewers are getting that information, and they can read more about your story. And you have a lovely family, you have 2 beautiful kids, you have a wonderful husband. I really like him, and he is such an open-hearted, wonderful guy. And I'm so happy for you that you made it. That you made it to be now a spiritual healer. You still work a lot with your hands on people. You're successful in many ways because you really, you broke the silence. That's it, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to talk to you and to listen to you. And I hope a lot of our viewers are going to enjoy this and pass it on and break the shell and come out with their pain. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Because together we can.
Because together we can. Because together we can.
We can.
We can.